guys, Austin here. So The Shining is a psychological horror film released in 1980 that was written and directed by Stanley Kubrick, who is my favorite director of all time, that stars Jack Nicholson as Jack Torrance, a writer who is experiencing writer's block who takes a job at the Overlook Hotel to maybe give him some inspiration for writing. And coming with him are his family, Wendy, played by Shelley Duvall, and Danny, played by... oh god, I can't remember the guy's name. I feel really bad right now. And as I stated, they realize that the Overlook just might have some dark secrets behind it. And if you guys could not tell, I'm wearing my Overlook Hotel t-shirt. And since it's Halloween, I figured, guys, I would give you guys a review of one of my favorite horror films of all time. So anyways, without further ado, let's get into The Shining. So before I go into my pros, I just want to say my apologies, guys. So if you all remember, during my 5-year anniversary video, I stated that I had 2 top 10s coming out this month. Well, I was able to get the first top 10 out. I have not been able to film my other top 10, mainly because I have been in pre-production for my new short film with my school. It's been taking up a lot of my time. So I figured instead of doing that, I would give you guys a classic review of The Shining. So The Shining has been widely acclaimed as one of the best, if not the best, horror film of all time. While it may not be my favorite horror film of all time, it is in my top 3, and The Shining, I have to say to you guys, is a masterpiece of all proportions. Now The Shining is based on the Stephen King book of the same name, and at first, critics and audiences at first hated The Shining. I mean, reviews were mixed all across the board, from people saying that it deviated way too far away from the source material. And a lot of adaptations, changes happen. Now personally, anyone who knows me knows that I'm not a book reader, and I have never read the book to The Shining. I probably will at some point, but I have never read the book. Putnam Events released The Shining for 2 days in theaters, and I was very lucky enough to go see The Shining in theaters last Sunday. And I gotta tell you guys, The Shining in theaters was way more frightening than I originally thought it would be. When you're watching any type of genre film at home, whether it be on your computer or on your TV, you do not get that same experience you would while you're in the theaters. Because when I first saw The Shining, I believe I was watching it on TV at the time. It had come on, and then when I saw it in the theaters, the film just, I don't know, it just did something different to me this time when I saw it in the theaters. Now to me, there is one main reason why The Shining works so good, and not just because of Stanley Kubrick, because Stanley Kubrick was pretty much the icing on the cake when it came to this movie. As I said, Stanley Kubrick was a damn master. This dude knew how to direct a film, that is for certain, because his direction in this film is incredible. He delivers a very spooky, a very unrelenting, a very cringy, and a very just get under your skin type of horror film that just stays with you long. I mean long after you see the film. This is truly one of the most unsettling movies I have ever seen. I feel like the main reason why The Shining works is because, as I say with other horror films, if you really look at it at its core, The Shining is a drama. It's a drama, and it's a look at a man who is just bottling up on the inside. He's experiencing with things that he's bottling up inside that leads to a terrifying climax to which he just loses it and goes after his family, trying to kill them. Everything about The Shining is phenomenal. Now, while I may have one little nitpick, I consider this movie to be a perfect movie. It may not be my favorite, it is still a masterpiece nonetheless. Everyone says that Jack Nicholson gives a typical Jack Nicholson performance. It works for this movie. Jack Nicholson plays a crazy guy very well, and to see his progression from being sane to insane to a psychopath is beautifully done by Jack Nicholson. When you see that shot that's right below him, just looking when he is trying to get out of that one little pantry that has all the condiments, that shot and his expression is terrifying. When I saw this in the theaters, hearing that opening score, and my god, the soundtrack of The Shining. There is one word to describe the soundtrack in The Shining. Creepy. And also spooky. The opening track in The Shining just tells you right there what you're in for. Shelley Duvall, I feel like 95% of the time, gives a great performance. Danny, who is played by Danny Lloyd, gives easily probably one of the scariest performances I have seen from a kid actor. And kid actors in horror films, I mean in films nonetheless, can go either way. They can either drag down the film or they can give the film an extra boost. And thankfully, Danny Lloyd gives this film a major boost. His interactions with his friend Tony when he talks to his finger are just, they give the film such a brilliant use of foreshadowing that we really never see coming. When he talks to Tony, we know there's something wrong with the hotel, especially when he says you should not go there, but we don't know how truly just terrifying it is. I'm getting chills thinking about it right now. Another thing I need to talk about is the cinematography of The Shining. Now, Stanley Kubrick throughout his career was known for bringing, dare I say, masterclass worthy shots. Every single shot in Stanley Kubrick's films have been widely praised, whether it comes to his still shots, his tracking shots. Every shot that Kubrick did had something just bursting through it in terms of style, whether it be for Clockwork Orange or 2001: A Space Odyssey, but most known, The Shining. His visual style of The Shining, particularly the more terrifying imagery that we get just specks of in the beginning. That's where I think the term nightmare fuel comes in. I mean, not that The Exorcist didn't do it before anime, god, The Exorcist do it so well, but Kubrick was known for his visuals. Kubrick, fun fact for those of you who don't really know Kubrick all that well, he started out as a photographer who went to doing feature films. Kubrick and a cinematographer, I believe John Alcott, produced some amazing imagery, particularly the tracking shots of especially Danny going on his bicycle. Oh my god, those shots make not just the cinematography but the sound in The Shining. Hearing Danny's bicycle going across the carpet and the wooden floors of the Overlook Hotel, I'm not gonna lie, put me on edge. But of course, it comes to one of the most terrifying scenes in the entire movie when Danny comes across the twins. And how can I talk about The Shining without talking about two scenes? Of course, the Here's Johnny scene. I mean, probably one of the most iconic scenes in horror film history. I mean, it is scary, but to me, the scariest scene of The Shining is when Jack Torrance is chasing after Danny in the hedge maze. That scene, the lighting, the sound, everything in that scene just screams nightmare fuel. I remember seeing that scene in theaters last week, and holy shit. Now, as I stated, Shelley Duvall, for 95% of the film, gives an amazing performance. Now, here and there is a speck of over-the-top badness that Shelley Duvall does that does somewhat take me out, but here's the thing, what happens next immediately in that scene just takes me right back in. And it's such a nitpick that doesn't even drag this movie down one bit. Overall, The Shining is a masterclass in how to make a horror film. It's a masterpiece. There's nothing more to be said. The acting is amazing. The cinematography is amazing. The visuals, which is the same thing as the cinematography, are incredible. The soundtrack is amazing. The sound itself is amazing. And the progression to which, and by the way, for a 2.5 hour film, this goes by at a very rapid pace. I mean, there is not a single moment in this film that slows down. But seriously, everything in The Shining is a masterclass in how to execute a horror film, especially a psychological horror film. This is easily, I think, honestly, the best psychological horror film I've ever seen. This film is a masterpiece, and if you guys have not seen it, you owe it yourself to check it out. And that's why I'm giving The Shining a 6 out of 5. This film is absolutely incredible, and if you're horror fans out there that have never seen The Shining, you owe it to yourself to check this out right now. It's Halloween. Check it out tonight. Seriously, this is the perfect movie to watch on Halloween. Alrighty guys, so comment out and let me know below. So it's Halloween, guys. What are your plans for tonight? You guys gonna go trick-or-treating, watch a horror movie, play a scary game? Let me know below what you guys are planning on doing tonight. I hope you guys enjoyed my review of The Shining, and if so, please like this video. It helps me out a ton. Share this video with your pals, and hit that subscribe button if you're new. And as always, guys, until the next review, see you guys next time and have a happy Halloween.